Junior want to not be on my I can't really see where did I miss ex-strippers.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, comedian Nicole Bunch. And before we get started, make sure you guys hit the subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell so when I'm on the air, you guys get the notification first because I don't want you to miss none of my stuff. Again, it's your girl, comedian Nicole Bunch, and we are getting ready to get started, baby, because yesterday, TD Jakes passed out in front of the congregation. But I don't want to say passed out, but he had a medical emergency, child. Like, what happened? Like, it's alleged that he had a stroke or possibly a heart attack. It has not been confirmed. But the reason why I want to talk on this topic, because I'm not one to judge. I don't judge people, baby. I sin. I have a relationship with God. Hopefully, I make it into the pearly gates, baby. But the reason why I want to talk about Bishop Jake so much is because this is content creator / blogger named Celestial. And from 2014 to 2023, which was last year, she has been making some very, very, very strong prophecies. Like, she's been prophesizing against celebrities and mega pastors. She said something about Bishop Eddie Long, and child, y'all know Bishop Eddie Long passed away from cancer because of his scandal. And I'm definitely gonna show y'all the video of what she was saying. I just find it strikingly weird, striking resemblance, so to speak, that she said that Bishop Jakes would die in the pulpit of a heart attack or a stroke. This lady has been very hands-on and very direct, and she named names. And I'm going to show it to you. Trust me, I'm going to show it to you. It's not my word. Don't take my word for it. I'm going to show it to you, but it's very scary. But intriguing. You know what I mean? Bishop Jakes has been named in a lot of stuff. One of the things that Bishop Jakes has been named and linked to is Diddy allegations. People have frowned upon him hanging out with Diddy. He's been at Diddy parties and called Diddy his friend. So people are like, okay, you as a bishop, you as a pastor, you at Diddy parties, like, what you doing there? Do you feel like that's the right fit for you, being that you are of the cloth? You know what I mean? I found it really, really weird. But who am I to judge? Like I said, I be sinning too. I don't know. But moving forward, like TD Jakes had his own, the TD Jakes show. He had his own talk show. And another thing that has been a scandal as far as TD Jakes is he had a male officer twerking in front of him, which put out allegations against his sexuality, that he's not interested in women. So the reason why I'm trying to formulate and bring all of this together is because the Prophetess Celestial said that he is not interested in women, that he is not a straight man. This particular woman, like I said, she's right to the point. She is direct, and her prophecies are like harsh. So it makes you like, I stumbled across her on TikTok. I'm not even gonna lie. And I was glued to her page because she said one thing in particular about another pastor, Bishop Eddie Long. And mind you, Bishop Eddie Long was under TD Jakes at one point. Like, his ministry was under TD Jakes. And she prophesied before this man passed away, along with other mega pastors, that they will in fact die. Okay. And we already see that Bishop Eddie Long is no longer with us. And the prophecy that she has made, allegedly, y'all, she started in 2014. And one of the things that she said that stuck out to me was that they will not make it past the 10-year mark. Okay. It is 2024. We already know Cat Williams said this is the year of exposure. So it has been a lot going on. And people that you would not even believe, have been named in some crazy things. We got tons of CEOs stepping down. Even Denzel Washington said that he dabbled with drugs. Like, who would have freaking thought? He said he go on binges. Like, this came out of his mouth. This is not no hearsay. This came out of Denzel Washington's mouth. That he would dabble in drugs and go on benches and then clean up like nothing happened, child. But I I digress. So I feel like a lot of the stuff, being that this is the year of exposure, according to Cat Williams, people are just out on themselves or just saying, you know what, I did this because if I tell my truth first, then you ain't got the second tell my truth for me. You feel what I'm saying? And it's just getting interesting. So, again, we know Diddy has been accused of a lot of things, a lot of horrific crimes, crimes against custody. He has a lot of lawsuits and everything going on. And a lot of people have been named in his lawsuit. So I'm like, can we see, these documents that the feds got? Because whether people like it or not, y'all can talk all y'all want to. We haven't seen anything with people's name allegedly being on this list. We only hear rumors. So I don't really want to say, this person, until I actually see a list where people are named and we see their names. You know what I mean? Now, the Jakes family ain't no stranger to controversy because in February 2009, T.D. Jake's son, Jermaine Jakes, was arrested for lewd acts in public, which was wild. And he was a part of a gay operations thing, whatever that is. And he definitely was arrested. I don't remember T.D. Jakes speaking on it or what have you, but it gets even crazier because now I don't know if y'all remember this, but there was a young lady by the name of Michelle Lau who alleged that TD and Sarita Jake's daughter, Cory Jake, who is a pastor, by the way, whom Bishop Jakes passed the torch down to his daughter, but we're gonna get into that. Cory Jake allegedly got custody of Michelle's son, Jason, and just never returned her son. Like, Michelle had tried to get her son back and went through all kinds of courts and everything. And for whatever reason, she was unable to get her son back. Now, the Jakes family, they have not addressed the issue. They ain't even saying nothing about the issue. And I went down a rabbit hole. I just found it really, really strange that large media outlets was not discussing the story because it has been alleged that the Potter's House send their interns to the shade room. So a lot of the people that work in the shade room that does the stories and everything, they are interns that came from the Potter House. How convenient is that?
So there was a little bit of history to the friendship.
I've been knowing her my whole entire life.
Wait a minute now.
Yes, of course. Right. It was certain things that I would share to her and express to her, and maybe Cora would, probably ask how I was doing and something like that. So she would then share, she's pregnant. She's not dealing with it well. She doesn't want to be pregnant. And I believe Cora took me saying that I don't want to be pregnant and equated to me saying I don't want my baby. And those are two different
What gave you that
things.
impression?
Just looking back in hindsight, how she moved, how she, went about manipulating me, went about coercing me, went about putting me under duress, how she moved, the things that she said, the things that she did, and then how she tried to put God in it.
I saw that from some very detailed documentation. And like I said, I'm an advocate for women, but at the same time, we have to have facts in order to come. And you had your facts and your documentation, right? We're talking black and white, was so substantial.
Because she did it.
I saw in writing from Cora to you that this was God's will for both you and her to be the mother of your child. Why do you feel like that she felt like it was God's will for her to be a mother to your child, in addition to you being a biological mama?
Because she's obsessed with having children. And it's not children. She's obsessed with having a baby. So we have to understand that a baby and a child, although they fall under the same diagram, it's two different things, right? A baby is a baby up until the baby is about 2, 3. Then they go into toddler years.
Yeah.
So then once they get to that age, the baby is of no use to her anymore. So then she goes out and seeks another victim. So I believe that she has an exception with babies because she cannot produce children.
And is that a scientific fact, or is that something that she shared with you?
That's scientific. She's barren.
Okay.
It's not because of PCOS, like she's put out to the world of infertility. Like, she had an abortion. and that messed her up, and she cannot produce children.
And is that allegedly?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to say allegedly.
Okay.
Because sue me if I'm lying.
And if it doesn't get any worse, Cory Jake's estranged husband was convicted of sex crimes against children and was sentenced to damn near life in prison. As soon as that scandal came out, Cory just miraculously got away from him. And he was convicted and sentenced to about 30 years. I'm not sure. Don't quote that. But he has very well been convicted. So they have not been in the spotlight. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of scandal that goes on with the Jakes family. And it's just ironic that members of the Potter's house got to do their internship at the Shade Room to get potential jobs in the futures. And some of them are high-ranking members of the Shade Room. So we just find that real ironic.
And now, the tragic end to The Secret. That's not so secret that has been swept under the rug by the Jakes family. If you recall, Cory Jake's now ex-husband was arrested in April of last year for the most egregious crime. He was charged with the following: aggravated assault of a minor and indecency of a child. On October 23rd of this year, he pleaded guilty to both. The prosecutor's evidence was so overwhelming that he had no choice. He was sentenced to 20 years for each charge, resulting in the Texas Department of Corrections being his forever home. So now, this 31-year-old man will be released when he's almost 70 years old. Rightfully so, if I might add, for committing a sin that comes with a warning where God himself said in Mark chapter 9, verse 42, "Whoever causes one of these little ones who believes in me to sin, it would be better for him if a great millstone were hung around his neck and he were thrown into the sea." And as for the victim of this crime, let's pray for her healing. And his now ex-wife, well, she has dropped the Coleman from her last name and is back to doing what all the Jakes do, ignoring their indiscretions, the same indiscretions that they scream into a mic as they quote chapter and verse for profit. Because unfortunately for Black women, who are 90% of their congregation, they know that what he did is one of the open secrets in many Black families that go ignored. So as this Thanksgiving approaches, and the majority of you are faced with the very man who violated you across the table while he passes the greens, remember this little girl who, at first, was allegedly abandoned by her mother, according to the Jakes, then adopted by them, only to have the man who raised her, the man she called Daddy, violate her over and over again. The man who was a member of the Jakes family for over a decade.
Now, there's been plenty of controversy going on about T.D. Jakes and his sexuality, whether he's heterosexual or is he gay. One thing in particular that stood out to me was him when he had his talk show. I'm not even sure if he still have that talk show. When he had his talk show, why you had a sheriff's deputy or officer, whomever he was, twerking in front of you, Bishop Jakes? I personally found that odd, like, especially a man, you're bishop. Like, let's just put it out there. You are a bishop. That was so uncalled for and, like, cringe-worthy. You know what I mean? Like, why would you? And he just sitting there like, now, if you guys haven't seen it already, here is a clip of Bishop Jakes when he had his talk show, allowing the security guard, sheriff's deputy, I'm not sure who he is, twerk in front of him. Very cringeworthy. I don't know, Bishop Jakes. So with all of that being said, and the allegations against Diddy kind of sort of align with the allegations against Bishop Jakes and his sexuality. I don't know. Don't shoot the messenger. But I wanted to get into Prophetess Celestial. I don't know if you guys ever heard of her, but she said that Bishop Jakes, she called a lot of mega pastors by name and said Bishop Jakes would suffer one of the biggest scandals there is to come, and he would, in fact, die in the pulpit. And she predicted this about 10 years ago. She spoke on it again last year in 2023, along with the scandal and everything. And I just find it real ironic that happened to Bishop Jakes yesterday, that he fell ill while he was preaching. And one of the things that she spoke on was a lot of the times pastors and people, mega pastors and stuff like that, when they have a scandal, it goes down right in the pulpit in the church. And that's crazy because I'm not even sure why Bishop was preaching, because Bishop was supposed to have shared the ministry or passed down the ministry down to Cory. So I was confused why he was still preaching. And child, I would have stayed out of the spotlight with all that's going on, with you allegedly being on paperwork and stuff like that, Bishop. I wouldn't have been in that pulpit. I would have been somewhere praying in the audience. Daughter, pray for me. That's just me. That's just how I move. But here is the clip of the video Celestial saying what she had to say about not only T.D. Jakes, but other mega pastors. Mind you, she spoke on Bishop Eddie Long before his passing, and he did pass away and have a scandal before he passed. So she spoke on it like very vividly.
Shake, and people began to fall out of the thrones in public and shameful falls. The Lord said that Bishop T.D. Jakes will have one of the biggest scandals of all time in the Christian church, one of the biggest shaming falls before God finally judges him in taking his life. The Lord said this man is not a straight man. He is not a heterosexual man. His name will be named by the people he has been with. His scandal will involve his sexual orientation, and God says that this is when people will finally see who they have been following with a lot of these pastors and spiritual leaders. So this prophecy came before the other one. This one is September 1st, that the Lord first said that on top of being a false prophet, on top of misleading people, on top of, he called it financial impropriety, which means that there is severe questions about what happens to money in the potter's house. He says that this man is a wolf in sheep's clothing, that this man is a Freemason, and that he is brotherhood. This is what the Lord revealed months ago in the false prophet's prophecy. But now in this live call, God brought out that this man is not interested in women, but is bent towards males. But not only that, has harmed underage youths and boys. And God says that this sex scandal will be named by the people he has been with. The males are going to bring out, he says, proof. The evidence this bishop will be fighting is hard evidence. And God says he will spend considerable time, considerable energy, considerable power, and considerable money to suppress that evidence so that it does not come out in the legal battles that will follow. But God said that we are going into an era where the evidence will get a chance to speak. September 13, 2022, and the title of this prophecy, the entire focus of this prophecy is the man known as Bishop T.D. Jakes. The title is T.D. Jakes and the Fivefold Ministry. In 2014, let me just go here. The title of this prophecy, this is a private prophecy, and I shared a little bit about it in the prophecy that is called No More False Prophecy. I'm just going to read a few things here, not everything. This prophecy I received when I was in that period where God had isolated me unto himself. And one of the things, as I said, that I learned from God himself because this is not often preached, is that you can lose your life for messing with the precious things of God. Part of what the Lord said is that in 10 years' time, he had his eye on particular ministers. He said that he was going to be watching them. He was going to be weighing them in the balance. And I spoke about this in the video it's called A Word to the Righteous. God said he was going to be weighing fivefold ministers in the balance. This word was given to me on January 17, 2014, and it's simply called A Word on January 17, 2014. He said he was going to be evaluating them, and within 10 years, he would have reached an estimation on some of the world's biggest ministers. So imagine there's just me. I'm just with God, spending more and more time in my notebooks, beginning to fill up my notebooks with things that I've never heard, and growing a healthy fear of God. And to just little me, God begins to name names. Joyce Meyer, T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, Eddie Long, Benny Hinn. And he said that these people would be weighed. He was going to check each one of them, and he said not all of them will be around at the end of the 10-year period, and not all of them are going to see my face either. They're going to die one by one, Celestial, and you are going to hear about it. He says that some of them will be in heaven. So God says that there would be ministers who, even though they die, their final estimation would be with him in heaven. He said that these ones that are taken away, they will see my face because I took them away to keep them from perdition. I was speaking of Minister Miles Monroe, who died tragically and shockingly. And as most people will admit, it seemed way before his time. It seemed that that man would still have a race to run. But I spoke about how everybody gets a unicycle, that we're supposed to cycle with precision on the narrow road. And that man's unicycle began to jump off the track. And God took him. God said that he took him. And the prophecy is on the Master's Voice. It's called Cornucopia, and it's from 2019. And so the Lord said that he would take people to heaven. He said that several of them, and here is one, he said Eddie Long will receive in his flesh the eternal punishment of the things he's done. Creflo Dollar shall not see my face unless he repents, but his wife will be received because she continues to live a separate life unto me. Now imagine God is saying a righteous and an unrighteous yoked in marriage, but one unrighteous has no chance unless there is genuine repentance. And God says the other one, though yoked with an unrighteous, has somehow managed to keep herself from defilement. And so he would receive her.
And I'm really not here to judge because, listen, honey, I get to the end when it comes to sin. I'm praying every day that the Father forgive me and some of the stuff that I've done in my past. But it just makes you wonder, the interview that Cat Williams had on Club Shay Shay, like, this is the year of relevance. This is the year where things is getting exposed. And honey, I have been clutching. I ain't even got no pearls. Y'all seen? I have been clutching my pearls since 2024 started. Like, I mean, it has not been a dull moment in 2024. So you guys tell me what you think. Comment below. I'd love to hear back from you. And make sure you subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be coming with the rawest news. Everything that you guys want to hear about. Your girl, comedian Nicole Bunch, we're going to be talking about it, honey. So make sure you tap in and stay tuned. I love y'all. But better yet, remember, love yourself. This is Tip.